Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the Toastmasters and the dignitaries present in this room, joining in from different parts of the world for this season 2, episode 1 of Beyond Toastmasters. Beyond Toastmasters, a District 98 initiative. I am Toastmaster Akhilesh, and I'm currently serving as Area Director for Area E4, Division E, and District 98. Beyond Toastmasters is a series of talk episodes by accomplished speakers who are not only proficient Toastmasters but also great thought leaders. The Beyond Toastmasters initiative aligns with Toastmasters International mission, which is we empower effective communicators and leaders. At Beyond Toastmasters, we believe that Toastmasters International doesn't alone make you exemplary speakers or leaders. In fact, the lessons learned in this journey help us hone our life skills, the skills that contribute to our success beyond Toastmasters. Let me begin with reading the district mission as well, which is we build new clubs and support all the clubs in achieving excellence. Before we jump on to the session, let me set few ground rules for this particular session. Rule number one, I request all the guests who have attended today in this session to switch off your video for a bit of bandwidth. Rule number two, chat option will be disabled. However, a guest can send messages to hosts and co-hosts for any assistance. If a guest has any questions to the speaker, he or she can send it to the moderator over a private chat. These questions will be taken after the talk. On this note, let's start off yet another inspiring episode of Beyond Toastmasters. To take the session further, please join me in welcoming the moderator for today's episode, who is a Toastmaster for 4 years and served Toastmasters in different capacities, right from club member, club executive officer, then part of club extension team, and then area director, and now currently serving as division director. Toastmaster Sandeep Raj. Please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Sandeep Raj, who is going to be the moderator for today's episode. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Akhilesh, for that wonderful introduction of mine. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Toastmasters episode number 9. As you've already seen, the topic for today is leader's voice. So, after listening to this topic, many of you might have wonderful questions or various questions stuck in your mind. What can be the voice of a leader? Or how does voice matter? Or what is that simple term called as voice? It is just speaking out or just expressing what is that you have in your mind, or is something different from that comes out from a the vision of a leader. To clarify all these questions, we have a wonderful speaker today to answer all our questions on this. And if you ask me who is this wonderful person to take this session forward, I can take 30 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 hours to explain this wonderful speaker. He's a coach, he's a trainer, he's a facilitator. And when it comes to Toastmaster, he's the first ever district director of District 98. He served as region advisor for the last term, and he's the current parliamentarian for District 98. And apart from all these things, I personally follow him one special thing, which he always keeps sharing on Facebook. And you would be surprised to know that it is something like auto ke kya piche kya hai. He's a very good observer of things around him. I mean, there are various unique taglines in India where people carry on their public vehicles, their personal vehicles, very catchy captions. But he finds life, he finds meaning, he finds motivation in such quotes as well. One of the famous quotation or once I saw on his Facebook timeline is, "Don't follow me, follow the traffic rules." It was written on one of the auto. So he makes sense for each and everything he captures. So that itself says that he's a wonderful motivator and a life coach. So please put our hands virtually together to invite distinguished Toastmaster Brilliant to the virtual stage.
Wow, Sandeep. Thank you so much. I'm so impressed by the minute details that you pulled out from this. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Tuesday afternoon, 2:19. Hi, Brilliant. A ping from Manideep. I would like to talk. A pause. Invite you for our Beyond Toastmasters talk this Saturday evening. And I'm like, oh, really? Another talk show? Another session? I thought I'd keep my weekend free. Please let me know when can I call you for 5 minutes to talk about it. I was a bit tied up with office work, so I said I'm probably free between 3:33 to 4:30 and then from 6 p.m. onwards. And Manideep promptly replies, "Thanks, Brilliant. I'll call you after 4." The call happened, and the passion with which Manideep spoke about Beyond Toastmasters was amazing, and I was hooked onto what he was saying. And unlike the Project 3 of the traditional manual, which says get to the point, Manideep went on building suspense and creating that impact for this project so well termed as Beyond Toastmasters. And as he steered closer to the question, my throat went dry and I was overwhelmed. And of course, when he gave an insight into the previous speakers, Dan Rex, Chandrasekhar, Chendil, Anne, Shravanti, Kai, Jonathan, I was like, seriously? I completely lost my voice. I was speechless. Looking at the kind of stalwarts that were here, I was wondering why did he decide to invite me? Is he trying to pull a fast one on me? And as I was building up my courage and mustering the thoughts to make sure that I give a response to him appropriately, the eureka moment happened for me. No. Don't get weird ideas. Unlike Archimedes, I did not run out naked shouting Eureka, Eureka. I said, the leader's voice, the topic that came to my mind, and I said, this is what we will do. And it was all because Manideep made me realize that all the speakers that he spoke about, some of them I have met and I have heard them personally, but all the others, when he spoke about it, I realized while I have not met them personally, the voice that they brought, the impact that they created was so immense that there was something unique about them. They were all different leaders with different styles, and they had created an impact, at least on me. So here I am sharing some of my thoughts on what is it that constitutes the leader's voice and why what you say and what you do matters. How many of you here are worried about the fact that WhatsApp privacy has been in question, and most of us have started transitioning into Telegram, Signal? I can see Sandeep raising his hand. And the reason is we are afraid that we are constantly being monitored, isn't it? And we do not really want someone to monitor us all the time. But here's something that we probably know it but is reluctant to admit. Each one of us as leader, each and every one of us as leader are constantly under surveillance. Constantly, even when you think you're not being watched, you are being watched. It's like being on the in the Truman Show, the movie, where Jim Carrey is always seen on movie. And imagine how difficult life is, because everything that you do, which includes what I'm doing right now, is captured, and someone is making a note of everything that I say. And maybe a couple of days later will come back and tell me, on this day, 23rd of January 2021 at 6:08 p.m. India time, you said this. And you will wonder, oh really? I don't even remember that. Everything that we do, our actions, our behaviors are constantly monitored. And it is important, therefore, dear friends, for each one of us to make sure that we behave as if we are always under surveillance, not wanting to get caught on the wrong foot ever. Because, as I said, you really don't know who's watching you. You really do not know what is being made up of the actions that you are doing here. This is a very interesting picture that I found, and disclaimer, all these images are downloaded after searching for certain keywords on Google, and I find something relevant. Giving detailed credits to each and every one was difficult, so a blanket credit. Each of these images are downloaded from Google, nothing which has been created personally by me. Now, as a leader, if we look at it, even without speaking, we have the power to create an effect called as the leader effect. The leader not only makes sure that you involve people. Involvement is the key. How many of you agree to it? Until and unless we involve people in our journey, your existence as a leader has no sense. It's about impression. Impression not in the way you think about impression. Now, what do you mean by impression here? Impression is impress upon your viewpoints. Impress upon the ideas that you want to run through. Then comes the most important aspect of creating an influence. Influencing actions from people who are looking up to you. As a leader, as I said, people look up to you for various reasons. And if you can influence them appropriately towards the action as you desire, then nothing like it. And the most important, you are looking at ways to impact lives of people. And it's a domino effect. And if you see the image, it says while the leader initiates the action, you never know when it will come back and hit you. So you need to make sure that you're always positive. You're always doing the right things at the right time, irrespective of what the circumstances are, because you are under surveillance. Now, it is said that leaders are made and leaders are born. There is a constant debate about it, but I have a different take on it. I have a different take on it in the sense that I believe that leaders are either by choice or by force. You decide or someone decides for you. And what gets you here as a leader is something that is specific to you. You may become a leader because of a position, a title, or a degree that you have earned. You may become a leader because of the charisma that you bring in. You may become a leader because of success that you have achieved. You may become a leader because of the influence that you create. And when we talk of influence today, we are living in a world full of influencer. Every second person you meet could be a social influencer, could be an influencer on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. You really don't know. And you were amazed. Honest hand to heart answer. When I look up at some of these people and I feel, how the hell can they get 1 million followers when sometimes the content is all crap? But remember, we really don't know what people are looking for. And many a times it's because of the personality that you are, the persona that you have built in. While leaders inspire, we have always heard that leaders inspire. Yes, isn't it? That's what we all think the leaders should be doing. Leaders should be inspiring, leaders should be doing this, leaders should be doing that. However, there's always a flip side to it. And that is the dangerous side of leadership. And that is what creates a situation like this. People like Hitler, people like Idi Amin, and very recently, people like, I don't need to name him, right? Create a situation which is tough. They incite people, they instigate people, they instill fear in people, and they go to tremendous extent to do things which are probably not right. Reflect upon yourself. What kind of a leader do you want to be? Do you want to be a leader that inspires or the other one? and an honest hand to a heart answer will tell you that the first one is difficult. Inspiring is difficult, but getting people to follow because they are fearful, because you are inciting them, could be easy. But as Chandra, if you remember what he used to say always, the second district director, the right way or the easy way. We always have a choice to decide on the easy way, but it's always important that as a leader, we choose the right way. And that brings me to the key point of a leader, that at all points of time, we must be mindful. Mindful of the very fact that we influence people. We can impact lives. We can make or break careers. And I'm not just talking about Toastmasters here. I am stretching it to the entire universe where your leadership can be used. It could be Toastmasters, it could be your social surrounding, it could be your work. If you are not mindful of this fact, it can lead to disastrous results. Now, this is very important. One of the things that we as leaders love is the kind of topics that come up, the kind of research that gets thrown at us. People keep saying that this is a research, this is what it is, this is what it is. You take it and you are like, okay, okay, okay. Now there are thousands of research, and if you go back to analyze these results of the survey, what you find is there are many things that people look for in a leader, but the top three is most important, right? I mean, I love the power of three, so that's why I kept it as three. There are people who say top 5, top 10, top 20, top 15, top with any number, and the survey will definitely have you have an audience that will be hooked onto it. But for the sake of this discussion, let's say top 3. Irrespective of what kind of a survey you look at, what kind of a research you do, there is one thing that stands out in all these surveys. And if you're thinking what it is, don't think. The only thing that stands out and is common amongst all of these is the power of communication. Now we need to be sure that as a team, as a leader, if I am a leader, what am I expected to do? I am expected to be open. I am expected to be transparent. I am expected to share a vision so that when we move together, if you are in a district leadership role, if you are in an organization, Toastmasters has a vision defined. Your organization has a vision defined, a mission defined, and in your respective role, you are expected to work towards achieving it. And you cannot do it alone. You don't need to do it alone, first of all. You need to have your team with you, and that is where communication comes in. Building a team that looks up to the vision that is shared together. Unfortunately, what happens most of the time is people tend to look at it as a position of power, and they believe that it's my way or the highway. When you look at that instance of my way or highway, you've lost the plot. You've lost the plot. Communication is a core leadership function. It looks so simple, it looks so easy, but it's one of the most difficult aspects of leadership. Communicating effectively, making sure that you're building relationship. Are you really doing it? Are you ensuring? We know that we have been told as Toastmasters that communication and leadership are intertwined. A good communicator can be a good leader, but a good leader must be a good communicator. We have been hammered that time and again. We need to be skilled. We need to be aware that everything that we do in terms of communication has an impact, not just on relationship, but also on the overall organization. Be it in small groups, be it in communities, be it on Facebook. I am surprised, my dear friends, when I am sharing this with you. Way back in the year 2010, I had posted something randomly. Sandeep said that I am an observer and I love finding out something interesting, and I post it because I feel if I find something interesting worth learning, I need to share. So when I did post on Facebook during a learning session, one of our senior district leaders came up to me and said, "Why are you posting this on Facebook? Why are you sharing this critical learning with others?" I was shocked. I was shocked and I had no answer. And those were the initial days of us getting into Facebook. We were not really very gung ho about Facebook or any social media. But I started thinking, what made me. And again, it goes back to the communication part. Many a times, leaders believe that if they keep the information close to their heart, if they keep everything in a close knit form, the possibility of success is high. But let me demystify that fact for you. The more you open up, the more people buy into that vision, the more people that buy into the dream, and the more you share, the more you learn, the more aspects of the element that you have to achieve comes out. Sometimes solutions to critical problems when you share. As a leader, we always believe that okay, this is a problem which needs to be discussed between the division directors. Hey, why do you restrict? Yes, it's a problem. We've discussed, we've not been able to achieve a solution. Now let's expand the pool. Can I open it up to someone else? And organizations have realized it. Many organizations now have a concept of reverse mentoring, a form of communication where we look up to youngsters. You've been there, done that, doesn't mean that you know everything. No one can claim to know everything all the time. So when it comes to communication, openness, making sure that you are including as many people as possible in the process is a critical element of your leadership voice. Think about it, dear friends. How many leaders do you remember because they included you into a decision making process? You remember a leader when there is a whip given, but do you remember someone who came up with open arms and said, I need help? You are the ones who can help me. I do remember most of them. And I have made it vocal that any opportunity to work with those leaders who opened up their arms and said, please help me, I'll go back to them. I'll go back to them because they believed in me when the world said, okay, you're not in the circle. It's not about creating a coterie. It's not about creating a closed loop circle, the golden circle, the platinum circle, or whatever circles you create. It's about creating success for the team. And when it comes to communication, we all know it. These two gentlemen, my two friends, Jim Kokochi and Mohammad Katani, they are beaming with pride. And there is a reason why I have put this up. Don't scratch your brains. These are the two people who I love always. And Jim Kokochi has a little bit of humor in him every time he posts. You will have to be following him very closely to understand. Same goes with Mohammad Katani. But the reason why they are here is not because of the wit and humor that they bring in. Do you know what is common between these two? Before you start thinking, remember this? Very recently, last week I think, there was a huge controversy about a 30-second scene in a web series. Now imagine a web series having an impact where people go into a riot mode. Do you remember what happened there? With this person, Mohammad Katani, and with this scene, it was all about words. Words have the power to impact. Mohammad Katani did it in the right manner, but this scene created a riot. We need to be very sure and we need to pick and choose the kind of words that we use. We need to make sure that we are using the right words at the right time. Words have power to move people. Words have the power to create a situation, can be positive or negative. Words can move mountains for people. And it is not just about the spoken word. It's also about the written word on Facebook. We say, oh, this person has been trolled. Most of us have been trolled in some way or the other on Facebook for a post. Sometimes there are people who do not agree to what you say. It's perfectly fine, but they start posting something which is offensive. And that's when it gets into a fight mode with me trying to respond, the other person countering, and it goes on and on and on and on. And it becomes a Duracell battery which goes on and on and on and on. Not good, the battery maybe, but the situation definitely not. I'm reminded of a very moving story. It's not just a story, it's something which happened. I had a maid in the past whose not only child, whose child was in labor. She was in the ninth month and she was about to deliver. However, due to doctor's strike, she was not taken to the operation theater because she was overdue. The time had crossed. I think it was 1 week over the schedule, but the doctor's strike was not ending. And this was a government run hospital, so you know how it is, right? There's too much of red tape. Now, this young girl, maybe about 20, 22 years of age, thin, waiting for the arrival of the first baby. Time is over, the doctors are not there. She was anxious and she was getting sicker and sicker. And finally, the doctors decided to operate looking at her condition. They operated, everything happened. This girl was completely unsick. I mean, it was, she was sick, completely sick, and she had no clue about what was happening, but she was expecting some news about the baby. The doctors did not stand. The doctor completed the surgery and went on. There was no news. For 2 days, she kept asking, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" And there was this nurse who was getting frustrated with the. And she just blurted out, "Your baby is dead. Why do you even ask? Did your mother not tell you?" You will not believe what happened next. She suffered a massive cardiac arrest and she passed away. There was a way in which the message could have been delivered, but the words that were used, the tone that was used, and the way in which it was delivered put the person into a shock and created a situation which was not something that anyone would have desired to. Irrespective of which level in the journey you are, which level of the step you are in the leadership, you need to remember that words have power. And as Boyzone rightly said, it's only words, and words are all I have. And you can change heart to your job, your dash dash dash, your life. Anything can be replaced. Now, if you look at the way in which leaders, the words they communicate, the voice that they generate have changed, it's important that if you have a voice, it needs to be amplified. Until and unless it is amplified, it reaches the right kind of audience. Your voice may end up being, in one place where it is looked upon. Oh, one fine day. Oh, that also was. Way back, it used to be communication channels which were important for leaders, which gave that amplification to their voice. It started off with this simple printing press with, for Indians, you'll know, Kesari, Lokmanya Tilak, a very powerful medium for him to send out the message. In the print media, the important aspect, if you remember, even now it is, you need the support of the editor and the journalist to get it done. So your influencing ability is completely there, but at the same time you are dependent on someone else. Then the medium changed to television. Now television became more powerful. Now if you look at the print medium, there is no pictures. These are initial days of the print media. On television, it's all live. Your personality, the way you dress, the way you appear on television, the way people look up to you. Are you looking open? Are you looking closed? Are you defensive? Everything mattered. Again, here you had to put across a lot of influence on the studio, on the channel, on the news anchor, and that's the only way you could get into a position to amplify your voice. And then we are here today, year 2020, where it's all about differentiation, by influence. Now, Barack Obama just tweets, vote, and it gets 407k tweets in just about an hour's time. Retweets, replies, messages, and just imagine the power from either trying to look at how I can get it done to being an influencer. The role of a leader has changed. You are no longer dependent on other mediums to amplify your voice. You have the power with you. You have the power of the social media. You have people along with you. You know today it's a different world, isn't it? It's all about that Twitter feed. Every morning you wake up to realize that there is some gaffe that the president would have done and he's trying to counter it. Or there is something where someone is being trolled. Why? Because social media has given you that platform to amplify your voice without having to depend on anyone else. While the communication channels have evolved, leadership also has evolved. The voice of the leader has evolved. Here on a tweet, just one word has the power to change. And he's just tweeted saying vote. Now just imagine how easy is it, right? Now from being comfortable hidden behind the paper, people don't know my face, I have created a print medium. From television where people know it, coming back to social media where you may or may not be known, but the number of followers, and on social media there is something called as the blue tick. If you know what the blue tick means, it means that it's a verified profile. If you get that verified profile, you are like the almighty of social media. Anything that you do, there are thousands of retweets, lakhs of responses. Use it effectively. Amplify your voice in the right medium at the right time. Not necessary that everything that you say will get amplified, but the way in which you say it is most important. Sorry. We've all heard this, right? Project number 4. Project number 4 of the traditional manual says how to say it. Paint a picture. Now, we have to make that vivid imagery possible for the followers. As a leader, if you are in a position to paint that picture effectively, half your job is done. And whether you're in the traditional path, whether you're a fresher who's just joined Pathways, I would encourage you to at least go through the project number 4 of Toastmasters International. I love it all the time, and I make a reference to it each time I get an opportunity, because this is one project that has helped me stay grounded to reality. It's about making people see what you want to make them see. It should not be like what some people in politics do. What they say, what they mean, and what they do. All of them are in different dimensions. And how to say it is the most beautiful element of communication. Here you will get to know how to create a picture to amplify your voice as a leader. Simplicity is the best. How many of you agree? Yes. As leaders, our voice is there everywhere, be it meetings, on Facebook, whether it is to decide on a particular event, to decide on which hotel to go to decide on what to cook for dinner, to communicate, to resolve conflicts, everything we need to use a language. And we all know that people are diverse. They come in from different backgrounds. So what works for A will not work for B. The way in which I communicate with Susie, the way in which I communicate with Akhilesh, and the way in which I communicate with Mayuri or Sandeep need not be, must not be same. I can probably connect with Mayuri at a different level. I have a different equation. So my language of communication with her will be different. When I say language, I'm not merely talking about the literal translation of the language. It's about a language which is casual, a language which could be a medium, actually English, Hindi, Marathi. or it could be about the kind of words that we use. If I am communicating with my friends and peers in the human resources fraternity, I will use a language which people will understand the most. You must remember that you must mind your language every time you are in a situation where you can talk to people and connect with them. I am an engineer, and how I can escape any session without having at least one statement about engineers. What you need to remember is you should never be a doctor in an engineer's conference or an engineer in a doctor's conference. What you want to say may not be accepted or understood by the others. So, if you really want to connect with people, mind your language and connect with people at the level that you should be. That doesn't mean that you need to learn a new language. You just need to understand what works. You need to understand how to connect, and you need to make sure that your voice is heard by them in the manner that you would want to. Yeah, no, I thought sometimes it's always good to put up your photograph. But this is a fantastic photograph, not because it's featuring me, but it's because this was taken at a conference in the United States, my first ever convention that I attended. And there was a session where I was presenting, and one of my friends clicked this. And I like this because about the way in which it has come out, emerging very clearly what is it that we are doing. There are so many elements to it, but still the focus is on certain part. I don't know if you can make it out. It's all about the thing that we have been talking right from the start. It's about communication, communication, communication. Every element in this picture screams about communication. There is Toastmasters, there is a laptop, there is a mic, and there is me in action. And it is just a representation of what power it has when you can communicate effectively. Vidya Balan has said, entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. And we should believe as leaders, the only thing that we can do is communicate, communicate, communicate. And when you feel that you have done communicating, communicate some more. There is nothing called as over communication. It is important. You really don't know when someone joins in. Just look at the virtual world today. You start a meeting with X number of participants, you are there. There is a core message which you want to deliver. If you start and forget about the core message, people who join in between may not realize what you are talking about. And if you really want to create an impact, make sure there is this communication that's happening at the right intervals, at the right time, each time, every single time. And there is one golden rule about communication. And it applies not just to communication, but to everything that you do in life. Way back when I was a youth leader with one of the not-for-profit organizations called Rotaract, I heard a leader way back in, I don't want to give out my age, where he said, standards are set by norms. Standards are set by norms, but there's always a better way to do things. A very simple statement which says that yes, standards are defined. As long as you are not violating any guidelines, as long as you are not breaking laws, as long as you are staying within the framework, you have the flexibility to explore, experiment, and spread your voice the way you want to. And taking a cue from this photo here, I am also reminded of one speech contest where I had a lady stand with the lectern as support. Instead of standing like this, the lectern was on the right side. She stood on the lectern and she delivered her entire speech. A very powerful speech. But all through our speech contests, what we have been told is you need to use the space that is provided. You need to use zones. And we get too, I would say, bracketed or too boxed in by these definitions. Just because she is not doing it doesn't mean that she is not communicating effectively. It is important to understand the message and the voice that she wants to convey to us. She came in second that evening. It's not about the position, but I liked that speech because she did not have to do something which was out of the box. Simplicity. Simplicity was the key. Sorry. And each time you have to collaborate, each time you have to set standards, each time you have to define something new, the only thing that will help you is how effectively you have communicated. I'm sure you would have met people like these. And this is something which I bring from my corporate experience. There are people across, but this is something which we have seen in corporates many a times. Leaders, especially those who are the ones who are bringing in revenue, assume that it's okay to abuse. It's okay to pull people down. Just because this person is bringing in money to the company, it's okay to treat people any way they want to. And this is something which we have always said no to. Touch wood, at my organization and also with Toastmasters, respect is one of the core values that we look up to. And we need to respect individuals. Abusing may get you there. People will be fearful. People may feel obliged because you are my boss and will do it. But when there is a time for you to deliver, what happens? What happens then? Right? So please, now here we move on to something very interesting. You don't need to be Shashi Tharoor. You don't need to come up with jargons. You need to keep it simple, sweet, and elegant. Just because you're using words and terminologies that are flowery will not make you a leader. It's not just about your words. It's your presence, your behavior that make a difference. If you look at history, there have been amplified voices in the form of speeches that have made an impact. And I'm just quickly running you through some of these. Abraham Lincoln, the purpose was to dedicate a plot of land, but underlying message he wanted to do is continue fighting for what they believed in, the Gettysburg Address. Then you have Martin Luther King. I have a dream, spoken from the heart. You have Lokmanya Tilak. The purpose, revive the spirit of nationalism. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Powerful speeches, moved people. The voice was amplified. While these exist in terms of speeches, there are elements like presence that matter and behavior as well. So let's look at this. You know what is happening here. No need to say anything. Angela Merkel in a room full of men, commanding that presence. The only man in the lady government by Indira Gandhi. Then you have Jhansi Ki Rani. All of these are examples of power presence. And then you come to the extreme end of it in terms of how do you behave. APJ Kalam, humility. The Uruguay president who drives a very old car, lives in a normal manner. Just imagine how humble these people are, yet they are influencers. Their voices have been amplified. They have made an impact. Now, if I were to put all of these together, I thought I should find someone from Toastmasters who exemplifies all of these. And that is where I would like you to meet JP, Jayaprakash Chaurasia. He was a division director way back in 2013-14. He was the silent man, but he had a presence to get things done. Even today, I look up to him as probably one of the best leaders that Mumbai has ever given. And not a single time has he abused, not a single time has he said no, but he is assertive, he is positive, and he's always smiling in spite of all the pressures. So here are the key points. It's important to make sure that you're keeping it short and sweet. You're not going around in circles creating chaklis and jalebis. You need to paint a picture, put across your key message at all points of time. You need to remember that your words, your body language, and your presence are your three friends to make sure that you amplify your leadership voice. Always remember that your voice can inspire. All that is required is for you to just do it. Thank you so much for inviting me over to this session, and I am looking forward to taking back many more lessons and learnings. We are now open for questions. I hand it over to the moderator. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Destiny Toastmaster Brilliant, for that wonderful insight on how does a leader's voice matter. So just on a funny note, but I'll share one incident, but which had a great
Please.
impact. So I recently saw in Facebook someone tweeted saying that Joe Biden is not my president, and lot of huge wave stormed the entire Twitter saying that you are supporter of Trump. Who are you? And why is Joe Biden not your president? And he simply replied saying that I'm from India. So this is how our words matter. This is how our voice matter, and a simple statement can create a huge impact. So we have to be very careful with our presence, with our behavior, with our pride, and with our leadership aspects. Everything matters. And imagine just a person can storm the Twitter. We as leaders, how careful we have to be with our words, and how does it matter? So as Toastmaster Brilliant already opened the session for questions, I would like to get answers from the keynote speaker for the questions we have already got by research. So this question is from Sai Mahima, and Brilliant, he asked you how we can be a good leader without being too dominating or lenient. I repeat, how can we be a good leader without being too dominating or lenient?
Thank you. Thank you. What is the name of the person who asked?
Sai Mahima.
Sai Mahima. Thank you. Thank you, Sai Mahima, for that wonderful and powerful question. It is very difficult for us to imagine that leadership is something that can be achieved by influence. We always believe that leadership needs to have that whip which needs to drive people. But let me tell you, if you know what the purpose is, if you know why people would want to follow you, I'm sure that you would not want to get into a mode of driving people by force. It is important to share your vision with them. It's important to make sure that you're making them a part of your journey. You make them believe that this is the vision. So I'll give an example. When way back in 2016, my organization decided to create a vision, mission, and values for the organization, we could have easily said, this is what it is, right? But what we did is we went into a brainstorming mode. We involved people. When you start involving people, when you tell them the purpose and you align them to that purpose, which is the larger purpose for the betterment of whatever action that you're doing, it could be the community that you want to influence, it is revenue that you want to achieve, it is the DCP goals that you want to achieve in your club. Until and unless you get a buy-in, you make people a part of the process, it is difficult. If you start doing it by accepting that everyone, the world is your team, the world in this context becomes your club, your community, your company, it will be a cakewalk for all of you.
Thank you, Brilliant. And this question is from Sangeeta Bhattacharya, and her question is, how do you manage lack of acknowledgement of your efforts and contribution from significant others?
Who asked this question? Sangeeta.
Yes, this is from Sangeeta.
Okay, Sangeeta, thank you so much. In fact, this is the early days of my leadership when I used to get irritated when people would not recognize me for certain achievements. Why do we want to depend on others to recognize what you've done? Few moments back, I spoke about how you can create an influence using social media. If you're doing good work, leverage that platform. The significant others will have a fear of missing out, FOMO as we call it, and they will say, oh wow, a fantastic job done. And that is where I say sometimes when you know that it is important for you to make sure that what you're doing is communicated and it resonates with everyone, you need to blow your own trumpet or drum up support for yourself. Do that yourself, but use it in a tactful manner. Make sure that you don't do the same mistake as the significant others that you spoke about. Involve those who have supported you in achieving this journey. Make it as a team effort. So, for example, for today's session, I can just drum up and say, oh, it was a great session, I had a question and answer. Or I could include and say, the moderator Sandeep did a great job. Imagine, I am impressing on the fact that this would not have been successful without moderator Sandeep, without the efforts of Akhilesh, without the efforts of Manideep. Every single person counts. So you take that step to include them and drum up support for yourself.
Thank you, brilliant. And this next question is from Balbir, and he had two questions. One is how to manage friends when we become their bosses. And the next question is how to manage our managers who are always sarcastic.
Okay, so 2 points, right? One is how do you manage friends when you become their bosses? And in a real life scenario, this is what happens all the time. If you are in a corporate, there is always this fast track, and then there is this normal elevator or a lift that you would want to catch. Someone will just run up the stairs and reach there faster. So I remind you of two friends, Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. They played cricket together, they got into the team together, they did a lot of things together. But when it came to performance, remember there is always a state where there is position only for one. And when that happens, determination of that person who will fit into that role will be because of performance. And once you get into that role of a boss, what you need to do is you need to create a demarcation of your life, your personal life and your professional life. And it has happened to me at least a couple of times in my journey when my friends have become my bosses or I have become boss of my friend. My duty when I become a boss is to make sure I give comfort. So let's say I can see Sandeep here. I give comfort to him saying that this is based on certain parameters. It doesn't change anything between us. What we need to do is we are working for an organization and these are the goals that we need to achieve. So Binu Jacob was one of my friends. We were friends. We were almost at the same level. And suddenly when the head of the our team moved out, Binu was promoted to becoming the head of HR for us. So I had to report to Binu. It did not change anything to me. But we made a pact. Binu knew what my strengths are. I knew what Binu could achieve. So we made sure that we leveraged each other's, I would say, strengths to work together. Yes, he was the face, he was the boss. But we made a clear understanding that it will not affect our friendship. That is almost about 8 years now. We are still very good friends. Nothing has changed just because we made sure that that relationship was segregated. And the second question, if I remember, was about how do you manage sarcasm. One thing, why do you want to manage sarcasm? You should ideally look at trying to topple the person with your own sarcasm. Jokes apart, sarcasm only means that you're doing something which the other person is not in a position to do. It could only come because the person is feeling that you are better than the person. Try to have a conversation with them. If it is not happening, be very upfront. Talk to them. It is very similar to a conflict resolution technique where you sit, talk it out and say, this is not something which I am liking. Yes, initially I was okay, but now I don't think I'll be in a position to tolerate it anymore. Let them know that you are not willing to take it. 1 or 2 times it happens, and then you have to break the cord and make it very formal and let them know that it can lead to consequences, including raising a complaint. At times when you are in positions of leadership, people generally tend to laugh it off. I remember people used to say, "Arey tumse na ho payega," right? It's a cliched statement that has come in many movies. Tumse na ho payega. It's okay. There will be naysayers. There will be people who will continue to believe that you cannot do them. But you have a choice to talk to them. You have a choice to ignore them. But if you keep paying attention to them and get pulled down, then it's a problem with you, not with the other guy. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, brilliant. And this question comes from Distinguished Toastmaster Mayuri. And her question is, in leadership, how does one deal with a non-performing team member?
Thank you, Mayuri. Again, if you look at performance and non-performance, it's quite often a very subjective terminology that we use. This person doesn't perform. Do you have a subjective measure of performance? Do you have something which you can quantify, saying XYZ member in my team is unable to do these activities? As a leader, it is important for you to have what I call as a key result area and a key performance indicator for your team members. If you are able to map that and tell the person that these are the areas that you are lacking in, this is how I can support you, and this is how we will work together. Give them some time, but let them see the mirror that your performance is not up to the mark. But if I don't know what are the parameters on which I am being judged about performance, I can continue to be under the assumption that I am performing. So as a leader, make sure that you are using the lever of KRAs and KPIs to make sure that you help the person understand what are the expectations and work together to achieve them. But your support as a leader is important. It's not that you just tell them that these are the missing points and you leave them all alone. Support them all through the journey. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mayuri.
brilliant. And in the interest of time, I'll be taking one last question, which I already have in my chat box. And I would like to acknowledge another question of Prashant, who asked how to deal with non-cooperative team member, but it's already been answered in the form of Mayuri's question.
Right.
So I'll go with the last two questions, which are going to be very short. The first one is how to synchronize leadership and business, and what is
Synchronize.
leadership and business.
Okay.
And one of the audience has asked to suggest few books uh, to admire leadership. Some book suggestions of leaders you admire.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. So first, I would like to understand what does synchronization of business and leadership mean. Could you help me understand who asked this question?
Yeah,
If
this
I can get some clarity.
this question is from Jayanti Shah.
Okay. Could we ask him or for some clarification what exactly do you mean by synchronization of business and leadership, because I'm not able to understand. Till that time I can look at suggest few books. you know One of the things that we assume is that merely by reading books we can get into leadership. My suggestion is read anything, read everything, something that will add value to you. You can read a simple book. My suggestion and encouragement for all of you for book reading is read some books where you can probably have chapter wise modules. Sometimes what happens is if you get a book as thick as this, a thick book like this, it's so difficult for you to turn 325 pages that you may tend to forget about it. But there are many good books. Some of these include the greatest speeches of the world, which I have liked. Then there is a book called as What Got You Here Will Not Get You There. There is some funny books like Management Lessons from Akbar and Birbal. Very funny incidences which give you some interesting lessons. So I can probably share a long list of what are the things that you should do, but don't worry about what I am recommending or what you see on the list of recommendation by others. Pick up a book, read what is written as the blur. If you think that you have found something interesting, read anything and everything. You will find something of interest to you. If you go back to what Sandeep said about me when he was introducing, is about the power of observation. One thing which I learned at Toastmasters is the power of observation. I was not very observant in the early days of my career, but once I started being a part of Toastmasters, it made me realize that I need to think beyond what is obvious. So if I restrict myself to say I will read books only which give me leadership lessons, I will read book only which gives me lessons on management, then I think we are not getting anywhere. I just bought a book called as Asura, which talks about Ravan and his side of the story. I never thought I will get into that book. Why did I buy this book? Because I found what was written as the blur very interesting, and I have just started reading it. So sometimes it's important to pick up a book because you find it interesting, not because Brilliant is recommending or because Sandeep is saying something about it.
Thank you, Brilliant. And unfortunately, the question posted regarding synchronizing leadership and business, that person is not in the meeting right now.
Oh, no
So
problem.
we'll go ahead. And thank you so much, Brilliant, for answering these questions and providing insights about various aspects of leadership and how does our voice matter. Thank you so much, Brilliant. I would request all the attendees in the meeting if you can please turn on for 5 to 10 seconds your videos so that we can have a group picture. So in the interest of time, please do it quickly. We'll just take 5 to 10 seconds to capture a group picture. Please turn on your videos. And I request the Zoom master to click a nice picture and just confirm it's done. Thank you so much. Now, it's time to introduce one of the key persons in the district role now and in District 90 Toastmasters. He is a testing professional working with Amdocs from last 4 years. He has been a Toastmaster since 4 years and has served in various positions in district like area director, division director, and he is currently serving as club growth director. Coming to his personal interest, he enjoys cooking, writing diary, and he is a passionate gamer. Please put our hands virtually together to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Amandeep.
Thank you very much, Sandeep, for the beautiful intro. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes.
Can you be a little more louder?
Sandeep, brilliant. Can anyone confirm? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Am I good now?
Yes.
Great. So, first of all, thank you very much, Brilliant, for taking this wonderful session. And believe me, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that he's very few to whom I love listening to. Every time he's coming on the stage, he makes sure I can pretty much understand there is a lot of hard work put up behind this 1 hour session. He might have taken efforts of maybe 10 hours or 10 days to prepare for this session, but believe me, whenever he's coming on the stage, he ensures that we get something new on our plate. And every time he didn't even fail to deliver as per our expectations, as per the expectation of the audience. Never even once he has failed to do it. So thank you very much, Brilliant, for taking such a wonderful session. And believe me, when they say that there is no end towards learning, and I truly realized it today, because today I also learned very few things which I can incorporate in my journey as a leader, moreover as an individual within my organization. So thank you very much, Brilliant. And I would also like to request Zoom Master to put up the role players recognition slide. So I would also like to acknowledge few of the role players, few of the members who helped us to run through this whole show. The very first is Stella, who was the Zoom master, and Santoshni, who was also a Zoom master from
Very nice.
Stagecoach Hyderabad Toastmasters and from Hyderabad Entrepreneurs Club. Also, the timer of today's event, Madhuri from Toastmasters for Hyderabad Entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for your service and for your hard work which you put in to ensure that this session become a successful one. With this, I'd like to conclude this session, and we'll be coming soon with the episode 2 of season 2 of Beyond Toastmasters. So stay tuned. Do follow us on social media through District 98 Toastmasters group, and you will you will receive the regular updates for our upcoming episodes over there. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye. Take care. Good night.
Bye. Stay safe. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Manideep.